Hey students, warm welcome to online cloud computing video lecture 4. In this video lecture, we will discuss techniques for various networking model. Let's share the screen. Technologies for network-based systems. This is the second topic in Unit 1 in cloud computing subject. Course outcomes we already discussed in earlier class. I just simply skip this slide. And in Unit 1, scalable computing over the internet, we already discussed in earlier class. Now move to another lecture, this present lecture. The title of the chapter is Technologies for Network-Based Systems, which are highlighted in red color in the screen. Topics to be covered under this network-based system technology are multi-core CPUs and multi-threading technologies. What is GPU computing and what are wide area networks and VMwares, which means that virtual machines, and what is virtualization middleware. And discussed finally about various data centers and what is meant by data center and how it is useful for data center virtualization using cloud computing. This topic will be discussed in this present video. Multi-core CPU versus multi-threading. What is multi-threading and what is multi-core threading? Multi-threading is nothing but it is a Java concept. A thread is a process, whereas multi-threading refers to a program that can run more than one core machine at the same time. Multi-threading is nothing but more than one processes can be performed at the same time is called multi-threading, whereas multi-threading can be referred in terms of cloud computing is multi-threading refers to a program that can run more than one core at the same time is called multi-threading. And what is multi-core? Multi-core is a computer that has more than one CPU core and that is physically execute multiple instructions at the same time is known as multi-core. So we have seen multi-core machines, dual-core machines. Nowadays, we are replacing successfully in the market. So this will comes under multi-core and multi-threading concepts. This is the difference between multi-threading and multi-core things. And let us move to another one is the architecture of micro architecture of multi-core CPU and multi-threading technology. We'll discuss in this slide. Here, consider the picture or the figure. A multi-core CPU and many-core GPU architecture dispatch of 5 independent 5 independent threads of instructions to 4 pipelined data paths. Here these are 4 pipelined data paths. In each of the following 5 processes categories as shown in this figure. If you observe the diagram from left to right, a 4-issue superscale processor and a fine-grained multi-threaded processor and a coarse-grained multi-threaded processor, and another one is fourth one is dual-core processor, and the last processor is SMT processor. So these are 5 different processors which are shown in this figure, and these are listed from left to right, and this can be effectively using multi-core and multi-threading technologies, how we will see in this diagram. The first one is super scale processor. It is a single threaded with four functional units. With the four functional units, and each of these three multi-threaded processors is four-way multi-threaded over four functional paths. In the dual core processor, assign two processing cores each and a single threaded two-way superscale processor. Instructions from different threads are distinguished by specific shading pattern. Here there are some shading patterns for instructions from 5 independent threads. Typically, instruction scheduling patterns are shown here. Only instructions from the same thread are executed in a superscale processor. Fine-grained multi-threading switches the execution of the instructions from different threads per cycle are analyzed here. The third gain multi-threaded processor executes many instructions from the same thread for quite few cycles before switching to another thread. The dual core processor executes instructions from different threads. And finally, the SMT processor allows simultaneous scheduling of instructions from different threads in the same cycle. So a blank square corresponds to number of available instructions for an instruction data path at processor cycle. So this will finally conclude that there are 4 pipelined data paths in each of the following 5 categories. How they perform their activity we have seen in this diagram. Next. What is GPU? GPU computing means what? GPU is a graphics processing unit. It is a graphics processing unit which was developed and marketed by NVIDIA software company, which is available in US in the year 1999. NVIDIA is one of the familiar software company that can be developed some GPU technological related softwares. Technologies nowadays we are using in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning concepts also. What is the use of GPU? It is a graphics coprocessor or accelerator mounted on a computer graphics card or video card. Suppose in your laptop or in our desktop system, if you want to view 3D designs, if you want to effectively utilize the graphics, you need to embed a component that is called GPU computing. GPU computing is playing an important role for plug and look feel appearance in the video graphics. Unlike CPUs, central processing units, GPUs have a throughput architecture that exploit massive parallelism by executing concurrent threads slowly. In GPUs, instead of executing a single thread microprocessor very quickly. So best examples for GPU computing are servers. The server name is IBM Xeon X567. This is the server code and Xeon is the server name. It can be launched by IBM. So IBM Xeon X5670 is one of the best example for GPU computing, and the server can contain 6 cores. 6 cores. The server can contain 6 dual cores. However, a modern GPU chip can be built with hundreds of processing cores, which means that if you compare our CPU with GPU, the CPU is running with 6 crores, whereas the GPU running with 100 number of processing cores at that time, which means that the efficiency of GPU computing is more than the CPU. GPU computing diagrammatically represented over here. If you observe the diagram, the CPU can have multiple cores. So in the CPU having 4 to 8 multiple cores in a rectangle mode. And the CPU consists of 4 to 8 CPU cores, while the GPU consists of hundreds of smaller cores, hundreds of smaller cores. So the NVIDIA and the CUDA and Tesla, these are very famous companies. These companies is developed this GPU technology, and they are used this GPS technology in clusters or HPS, high processing systems, like these are using in business systems for performing various businesses, which means that the efficiency of GPU is very high compared to the efficiency of CPUs. Where exactly GPU programming model will be used? Here, have a question. There are 4 examples here we are using where GPU programming implemented in our day-to-day life. The first one is energy and power. Energy and power, it is related to electrical technology. In that electrical technology, this GPU programming or GPU chip will play an important role. Another one is memory and storage. This is another exascale computing technique. And system elasticity. This is another programming model. And next one is concurrency and locality. So we can easily identify the locality, and parallelly we can run more than one system if we effectively using GPU programming model. How GPU will differ with the CPU, we'll discuss in this session now. The CPU running with multi-core processors with limited parallelism, whereas GPU has many core architectures that has hundreds of small cores organized in the embedded into the computing. Each core is to be considered as a thread, and the interaction between both GPU and CPU are performing parallel execution of floating point operations concurrently. Consider a diagram. Here, the GPU is maintaining many multiprocessors. Here, n number of multiprocessors are running, and simultaneously in another system, n number of multiprocessors are running. So these n number of multiprocessors will be running on the common device memory only. Common device memory. They are sharing the common memory, and they are utilizing the services effectively with the help of the GPU. And the CPU is connected to the GPU through the memory chip. And next one is WAN. What is WAN? WAN stands for Wide Area Network. And what is WAN and what is SAN? SAN stands for Storage Area Network. And the difference between WAN and SAN will be discussed in this session. We are well familiar with LAN. What is LAN? LAN stands for Local Area Network. It is typically used to connect both client systems and server systems in a local network that is called as a LAN, Local Area Network. The LAN can cover only limited area, whereas a SAN, Storage Area Network, connects servers to network storages such as disk arrays. And why we connect servers to network storage is nothing but if you want to store more or large amount of data over multiple networks, at that time we go for applying the concept of SAN, server storage area network. And next one is NAS, NAS. It is another memory and storage network. NAS stands for network attached storage. This network attached storage connects client host directly to the disk systems, directly to the disk systems. So this diagram clearly shows the three interconnection networks between LAN, SAN, and NAS. Why we talk about all these LAN, SAN, and NAS is nothing but if you want to host, if a person want to utilize the cloud services very effectively in terms of WAN, LAN, and NAS, it has to take the agreement from the cloud provider, and the cloud provider will maintain the infrastructure. Here, the infrastructure is a network is also considered as infrastructure. So we don't bother about the infrastructure. The cloud provider will provide all the required infrastructure for running the application. The next important topic is virtual machines and virtualization. What is meant by virtual machine? Simply, we can call this one as VM model. VM stands for virtual machine. Virtual machine is nothing but a computer can have or can maintain another OS within the system is called virtual machine. That means that multiple operating systems can exist simultaneously on the same machine is called virtual machine. Sometimes our computer system or our desktop system or laptop system is working with two operating systems. One is Windows, another one is Linux or some other OS. The type of environment will be considered as virtual machine, which means that multiple operating environments will be set up simultaneously on the same computer system that is called as a virtual machines. Why we use virtual machines in cloud computing is sometimes the customer want to access more than want to run his application more than one operating system. At that time, he need to access virtual machines instead of accessing a personal computers. So virtual machines offers a new solution or novel solution that is, it is providing software manageability and providing huge security for all the machines. To build large clusters, grids, clouds, we need to access large amount of computing, storage, and network resources in a virtualized manner. So we already defined what is virtual machine and what is virtualization. Virtualization is nothing but if you want to build, if you want to host large number of virtual machines on the cloud, you need to build large clusters. Clusters is nothing but a collection of servers and the grids and also clouds. We need to access large amount of the storage. We need to maintain a huge number of networking resources over the cloud computing that is called as a virtualized manner. If you want to access the data, if you want to host the data over the internet in a large amount of instead of we go for taking the help of virtualized manner. If you want to run multiple operating systems on one machine or multiple copies of the same operating system, then you only have two ways to do it. that is dual boot or virtual machine. We have seen sometimes our systems are working with dual mode, like dual boot mode. Another one is virtual machine. A machine with another machine is called as a virtual machine, but finally it seems to be a single machine. That internally the machine can run two different operating system, that is called as a virtual machine. Here there are three different types of virtual machines observed in the diagram, namely the B is native virtual machine, and C is hosted virtual machine, and D is dual virtual machine. These three named as native, hosted, dual virtual machines, and they have their own functionality. Now I will compare these three virtual machines with the physical machine. Physical machines is nothing but our physical PC, personal computer. If you consider a personal computer, the personal computer can run with hardware system, run with the OS. The OS and hardware will combine together in a particular system. Then only the applications loaded into the computer can be successfully running with the help of operating system and the hardware. Now coming to move to native virtual machine. In the virtual machine, hardware embedded with here hardware is not embedded with operating system. The hardware embedded with another virtual machine. That means that internally we are maintaining one more VMM virtual machine, and operations, applications, and operating systems are kept at the outside of the space here in that virtual machine. In hosted virtual machine, the host operating system is embedded with the hardware system, and the virtual machine kept outside, and we can access this data by using hosted virtual machine. Next one is dual virtual machine. In the dual virtual machine, the hardware is combined with two operating systems. One is host operating system, other one is guest operating system. And the host operation system is also provided a mode of the system space that is called as a virtual machine mode. These three are running differently when compared with the physical machines. Finally, I can conclude that virtual machine is nothing but it is a computer system which is running with more than one operating system to perform large tasks, that is called as a virtual machine. And virtualization is a platform which can be provide a platform for building large scale of grids, clusters, and clouds to access large amount of the data from the cloud by using virtual manner. Here we have seen two more virtual machines. One is hosted virtual machine, another one is native virtual machine. And the native virtual machine physical server, the server is having fully loaded with hardware, and the virtual machine is running with two or more operating system. One is VMware operating system, another one is Oracle software, and also one more operating system is there, that is Microsoft operating system. So in that we are embedded two different virtual machines, and finally, so we can access lot of data from the cloud if you consider this type of virtual machines. Next, data center. What is mean by data center, and how data center virtualization is effectively useful for cloud computing? Data centers, we have seen nowadays, cloud computing means all cloud providers need to maintain huge data centers. Why they need to maintain huge data centers means large amount of the data will be stored into the server, not only single server. A data center is nothing but thousands of servers which are interconnected together. Thousands of servers which are interconnected together to store, to provide or facilitate storing of large amount of the data, that is called as a data center. A large data center may be built with thousands of servers. Small data centers also typically available but in that those type of data centers are maintaining hundreds of servers anyhow. High-end switches or routers may be cost prohibitive for building data centers. If we want to host the data, we want to retrieve the data through smaller data centers or large centers, we need to maintain high-end switches or routers. Otherwise, the traffic will be more, and sometimes there is a probability of failure the servers. Currently, all cloud computing data centers are using Ethernet technology for their networking utilization for providing security. If a cloud provider or cloud maintenance team maintaining huge number of data servers, they need to spend lot of money, and they have spent lot of money if they utilize the services of cloud. Suppose, let us take an example. If you want to build a data center at on-premises, you need to spend lot of amount. 30% of cost will be utilizing for purchase of IT equipment or servers, bulk servers, and most of the cost, 33% of the data center cost for maintaining chillers, and 18% of data center cost for maintaining UPS for providing backup for those servers, and 9% of data center cost will be maintaining for providing air cooling for data center rooms, and 7% of data centers cost for providing very good lighting for hardware or software equipment room. So in this way, we need to spend lakhs of or crores of amount for maintaining a small data center on premises. Instead of that, what we will do, if a client, a person want to host large amount of data and he want to utilize or you want to retrieve the data from the cloud, simply he can host his data into the cloud whenever he requires. He can access the data through the internet by using this cloud technology. For that, the cloud providers will maintain huge data centers into the cloud to access the data very fastly and providing the security. So this is nothing but data center virtualization for cloud computing. And what are various benefits for data center, we will discuss in next slide. Benefits of data center virtualization. Some of key benefits of data center virtualization will be discussed here. The first one is reduced hardware vendor lock-in. No need to buy hardware cost. And smooth migration to cloud, which means that if the traffic for one cloud is very high, then the cloud will apply load balancing technique. Automatically by using distributed computing technique, one cloud will be migrating with another cloud. So finally the load balancing factor will effectively apply for that, and whatever the data you want to access from the cloud, you can retrieve the data and you can access the data very quickly. Faster server provisioning. So server capacity also increasing if we maintain data centers in a virtualization manners. Thank you. So dear students, in this session, we have been explained various topics which are related to technology based networking models. What is virtualization? What is virtual machine? We discussed in this chapter, and also how this virtualization will be effectively applied in cloud computing, and how virtualization concept is also effectively utilized in cloud computing we discussed. And moreover, we discussed about GPU technology. What is GPU technology? How it is very useful for our for cloud computing. We discussed here. So now we came into the end of the session. Thank you.